So we've had a couple of comments, and I've also noticed from other videos and comments on other videos from other people that there's a little bit of confusion and or sort of concern over exactly where to put carbon monoxide detectors. And it turns out that I have put it in the wrong place. Commentators were correct on that. However, it does get a little complicated. So we bought a couple of these ones made by a company called Fire Angel. That's the brand. And today, just to be sure, because there was some conflicting information in the instructions that I found from them with other sites and with what was recommended by different other governmental groups and everything, about exactly what you're supposed to do with these. And it kind of makes sense because all of the instructions are based on just residential houses, and we are in something that's a little different than a residential house. And it turns out that carbon monoxide does not pool on the ground. That is carbon dioxide. It is a natural outcome of fire, so there will be carbon dioxide around a fire and everything, but the thing is that it's a lung irritant. People will wake up to it. It does cool down because carbon dioxide, being 1 carbon, 2 oxygens, is heavier than carbon monoxide, which is 1 carbon, 1 oxygen. But carbon monoxide, the actual very dangerous gas, because we don't react to it in any way, weighs the same as nitrogen, which is N2, or 2 nitrogens. And that means that it floats around in the atmosphere in basically the same way as the air. Which means that you shouldn't put these guys low, which is one of the recommendations I've seen. They should actually be at normal head height. They should be no less than 1 meter from an ignition source and no more than 3 meters from an ignition source if they're in a room with an ignition source. So we've got our solid fuel stove. It means that it should be no closer than 1 meter, which is right about here, no further away than 3 meters, which is down over there. So a good location probably would be like right over here. It's roughly at head height, based on, sort of average mouth height of the two of us. It also shouldn't be close to windows. Basically, the idea is that you want to get the warning as fast as possible. And what the guys at the company said is that if it is close to a window, it's close to a source of fresh air. Even if, the window isn't fully closed or anything, or is fully closed in the winter, there's a possibility, a real one, of there being some fresh air circulation. And what does the fresh air do but make it so that this thing isn't as aware of a buildup as carbon dioxide because it's closer to safe air than you might be. So you want it to be a little bit far away from windows. We have, unfortunately, another window over here, so we kind of go, all right, 1 window there, 1 window here. Probably going to place it on the wall right about here. Then there's the bedroom. Right. Same thing. We've got it mounted up high, too high. It's not the right place for it. So where are we going to put it? In the bedroom, we've got a little bit of a problem. Of course, we're on a boat, so we've got back here the Eberspacher and the engine, so sources of ignition. However, they're behind a firewall and they're in a separate room. So in our case, they're actually outside of the boat. They've got easier places for the air to go unless there goes something wrong down here. So again, head height. And what they recommend is for a bedroom, put it at head height where you're going to be when you're sleeping. So, somewhere in this area. Same thing, we've got some windows and everything around. They do want you to be where you're most likely to be woken up. So the recommendation that was given to me was if you're only going to have 1 alarm in the bedroom and you're not going to have one near the actual point of ignition, then a good place to have it is somewhere a little bit closer to between the points of ignition. Well, of course, our galley's over there and our Eberspacher's over here, so if carbon monoxide's coming in, it's going to be coming from that way or it's going to be coming from that way. You want it at head height. You do not want it someplace where you're going to kick it. You don't want someplace where you're going to hit it with your head. So we think it's probably going to go right around here. You're supposed to put one in roughly every room. We're talking about residential buildings, so they're really talking about several hundred to 1,000 square feet. Our total square footage is roughly the same as 2 normal size rooms in a house, so this should be sufficient coverage with our other one down there for the entire boat. For reality, we've pretty much covered safety. If we can ever get another one, we could add a third, and the most likely place to put it would be back towards the actual, kind of engine bay and Eberspacher, where more chance of fumes coming in are. Because we've got a gas stove and we turn off the gas, our biggest real risk from that isn't ignition product. If something's lit over there, we're either cooking or we've made a really big mistake. So the bigger problem from it is actual LPG gas leaking, and that's why we do have a gas alarm fitted. Yeah. So that's basically it. Fire safety on a boat. We've also got, of course, our smoke detectors. They are placed where they're supposed to be. Confirmed that we don't have a problem there. And we've got numerous fire extinguishers and a fire blanket. And we're pretty much covered for fire safety. Short of, not having a boat with wood in it. Oh, there's a flash pointed straight at me. Seriously? The light's on. I'm going to be blinded by the light. Does it look okay? Okay, fine. Yeah.
Smooth.
Smooth. Once again.
I can't use any of these clips.
It's cheap chuck. I can't do anything with the cheap chuck.